So let me start with this. So welcome to everyone to the recording. There's a bunch of you that can't make it live and you're going to chat to the recording. So welcome. Super excited to have you. And today is called the Superconscious Woman Training. And the reason why I wanted to start recording now, as you're dropping in your intentions and you're dropping in why you're here, what's your soul bringing you here for, as a few of you have said here, you want to elevate your consciousness and, manifest abundance, expand your consciousness. Now, I used to do everything I did, to create abundance for myself and my son and have this freedom life and all the things. So I'd always choose like training and mentors and do all these decisions really with the end result and desire to create abundance and money and freedom, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. It's beautiful, and there's many women that will desire that. But what happened, and I'll talk to you tonight, is that when I actually made my evolution and my consciousness my priority, and when I actually made like me tapping into my power and my superconscious my priority, everything unlocked from that. Because if you are at your highest level of consciousness, if you're at your highest level of evolution and you're on that journey of evolution, that is the secret. That's the philosopher's stone in alchemy that's going to unlock every single desire you have, not just money and business. Like that's selling yourself short. I was selling myself short trying to pursue, big business and whatever. Like that's beautiful, but that's a byproduct of you being at your highest consciousness, you being at your true nature, you being in your true purpose, money and abundance and business. And it's a byproduct of that. If that is your true focus and that's where you're putting all your energy and you're focusing on your evolution, that all comes, and not just that, it's abundance in every area of life. So that's what we're talking about tonight. And I'm super excited that some of you have already dropped that into the intentions, because when we have this as our end result, we create magic. It's a very pure, beautiful, like whole, fulfillment focused end result. And it creates magic because it's coming from a place of love. It's coming from a place of fullness and love and wholeness. A lot of intentions we can have or things we can go for are coming from lack. They're coming from fear. They're coming from, I don't have this, or I'm not worthy of this, or I'm not enough here. So I need to create. From the get-go, you're going to see me talk about this. That is already then putting us off track, and we're already going to be creating problems and things. So I'm so glad that you brought that in, because I will talk about that tonight, and it's exciting that you brought it up already. I'm pumped. I've got a lot of fire tonight, so it's going to be lots of channeling, which is good. Ali, you saw my interview with Jordan, interested in what I do. Amazing. I love how you've all found me in different ways. Intention is to build a genius relationship with abundance and wealth. I love that. Interested to learn more, ready to, what's happened? Rise and overcome holding back, having a voice and changing the world. Love it. Let's all rise together and help each other rise. That's what I see for the circle of women that we're a part of. Stepping into the sovereign divine leader in my coaching. I love all these intentions. They're very beautiful. To create ongoing movement towards my goals, the creative orientation. Love that. Here, because my soul needs to go deeper. It has been the great last few weeks, really applying the ebb and flow. Space has been provided so I can bring in more money and opportunities. Amazing. There's always deeper to go. There's always more evolution, which is beautiful. We're on this amazing ride, aren't we? So expand and stretch transformational willingness in all aspects. Love that. We've got a little bit of a cold temperature off happening there. That's glad to see. Expanding abundance and consciousness, more about elevating the life purpose. Beautiful. Love that. So it's, really powerful. And people who are tuning in, set in your intention, set what you desire, because already your, subconscious is going to create that from that moment. So let's go into what we're going to do tonight. Now, I really want to talk to you, as I said, about the superconscious woman. And what we're really talking about tonight is your definitions of yourself, your inner landscape, your inner world, and how that then just projects a hologram out into your life. And it just then creates whatever you're creating. And so the core and the hub of what we're talking about is, if you have perceptions and definitions and things inside of you, that is what then is manifested outside of you. If you don't like what's coming out of you and you don't like what you're experiencing, it's an inside job. It's an inside job. We've got to go deep in here. We've got to go into the core of our soul and our heart and our super conscious. We've got to work at that level. Because if you don't, and you try to work on an outside level and you try to change things on the outside, and try and get that to then influence how you feel, and you feel then fulfilled or whatever, because you've made business and money. And it's hustle street, struggle street, difficult, impossible, not lasting, unsustainable, unfulfilling, all the things. And you're going to see from my stories tonight what I mean by that. So that's the hub of what we're talking about. Oh, nice to see you, Dory, as well. Expand, connection, weave, and quantum field. Love it. And when I'm talking tonight, I really want you to listen through the whole body. I want you to be as present as you possibly can be. I know some of you might have kids running around, all the things, like you're incredible women that, have many parts of life. But the more present you can be, the more absorbing of all of your cells that you can be in this, because it's not just what I'm going to be saying with my words. There's going to be energetics that I'm offering to you through this as well. So if you can just drop in and be really present, that would be phenomenal. So I'm going to talk about a couple of stories tonight and a couple of key elements, and we're really getting down to a core level. And when you get down to this level, change happens, transformation happens. When we work on a superficial level or a human level, or like just the physical realms, and it's hard work, and it doesn't often create lasting change, if at all. So I'm going to really drop deep with you tonight and go into the core of the work that's changed my absolute life. So firstly, I want to talk to you about a few stories that will illustrate what I'm going to talk about, because we basically have a superconscious woman inside of us, and we have an unconscious woman. We have this highest part of ourselves in terms of like our biggest power, the godlike goddess self within us, the creative being, the part of us that's connected to the stars, that came from the ether, like connected to all time and space, that genius, intuitive, like powerful being. There's that woman in all of us, that being in all of us. And we also have a human part, an unconscious part, an egoic part, the dense part, the heavier part, the part that is stuck in the past, stuck in limitation, contracted, constricted, in fear. And we have this part that is also holding us back out of fear and survival mode, is constantly trying to look out for danger, And I'm going to tell you tonight, when you have that part of you ruling your life, which majority of people do, you will create what you don't want, and you will create nightmares, and you will create lots of things that you don't desire. But if you are ruled by your superconscious and you're ruled by this woman, this being in you, and that's majority of what's ruling you, you will create dream after dream into reality. You'll create gold, and everything you touch will turn to gold. It is a completely different trajectory, just from the fact of where you're putting your energy, where you're putting your focus, where you're coming from. And I'm going to unpack this for you tonight, and I'm very, very excited about it, because I looked for this for many years, and it is the secret to transformation. It's the secret. It's the keys to the universe. I'm about to give them to you, like it's so powerful. So I'm super pumped. So I'll tell you a few stories to uncover what I mean and to tell you more about what I mean. So throughout my life, and you can sort of look at this and see where your journey is with this and what you're learning and taking from it. But throughout my life, I was led by my unconscious. I was led by the dense lead part of my being. I didn't know there was any other way. I didn't know there was anything else. This is just our default. It's where we are. And I also still, knowing all I do and training that I have, still can be led by this part too. It's not like we then learn this and blah, it's a constant default. We have a bent towards this way of being. We are like in the little car of life, constantly bent towards this. And that's why we just keep going onto the track of the ego, keep going onto the track of the unconscious, keep going onto the track of fear. And so I had definitions of myself, as you do also growing up, and one of my definitions of myself was, I'm someone who is trashable. I'm someone who's rejectable. I'm someone who isn't worthy, is unworthy, is unlovable, is not enough. And I'm someone who gets abandoned. Other people discard me, abandon me, like, these things. And that's, the world's unfair. And that's how my cards are, That was a belief and a definition I had of myself growing up. And it wasn't questioned. It was just the way I thought it was, because our belief creates a reality that then gives us evidence of the belief. And so I had all these stories and all these realities that confirmed that belief of mine. And so what I did is I try to work at a human level. I try to figure out how to get away from this reality, how to not create these fears, how to like get out of it. And I studied psychology for 8 years, and from like 16 decided I wanted to get into coaching, and like just for girls, I did personal training, I did human resource, like I just did every job I could, became as perfect as I could, try to, get myself to be good enough, get myself to be worthy, chose my partner from the very fact that I thought he won't leave me. He is a committed, loyal person. I didn't like anything else about him in a lot of ways. He wasn't anything else I wanted. He just seemed loyal and committed. He came from a family that was like super loyal and stayed devoted. And all I cared about was not being trashed, not being discarded, not being abandoned, choosing someone who wouldn't leave me, who wouldn't cheat on me, who wouldn't divorce me. Like, that's it. Because that was my story, and I was trying to run away from it the best I could, and I was trying to do everything in my power at a human physical level to study this and do that and choose this person, all out of fear, trying to run away from my past, trying to run away from these stories. Guess what happened when I'm 30 years old? Turning 30 years old, 6 months pregnant, been with this man for 10 years of my life. I find out he's cheated on me, and we can't stay together. We have to break up. We can't work it out. And so what happens? I create my definition. I'm trashable. I'm rejectable. I'm unlovable. Someone's even going to do it when I'm the most vulnerable that I need to be. That's when I get most abandoned, is when I'm really vulnerable and weak and needing someone. That's when I get left. I co-created with him this scenario that fulfilled my definitions, mirrored the inside of me, the very fear I was doing everything I could to run away from. I co-created. Because the answer is not trying to change the outside. The answer is to change it here, then the outside changes. And I didn't know that yet. I also had this definition that, I'm unworthy. I'm not someone who's going to be admired, or, I'm a failure as a coach. I'm a failure as a person, like all these things. People aren't going to see me. They're not going to value me. I'm not worthy. So I do 3 years of business. I go, well, I'm not going to let my ex ruin anything. Like, I'm going to get into business and I get my willpower back. And I'm like, no, I'm going to make this happen. Rah, rah, rah. I do everything I can again. I get strategy coach after strategy coach. I earned $300,000 in my business over the 3 years, and I put it all back into my business, or whatever it was. It was 200, whatever it was. But I put it all back into my business, all back into mentors and coaches, all within my physical power to get this strategy person, to get that action happening, to do that sales call, to blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to be unworthy. I'm going to be valuable. I'm going to get paid. I'm going to be powerful. I'm going to show everyone I'm powerful and I'm a success. 3.5 years into my business, spending everything I can, doing everything I can, getting every mentor I can, taking every action I can. I find myself $20,000 in debt, paying all this money to these coaches that actually were telling me to do things that were against my intuition, that were against who I was. And I got $0 for 4 months while I was paying them $5,000 plus my life costs. I had to borrow money from someone, and they had no more to borrow. I was a month away from being a homeless single mom on the poverty line, even though I'd spent every cent, done every single thing possible to get out of that reality that I wasn't worthy and that I was a loser and that I was a failure. And what did I create? A thought and feeling that I was a failure, that I was a loser, that I was unworthy, that I was powerless, that I was stuck, and that no matter what I did, I wasn't going to look after. God wasn't going to look after me. The world wasn't going to look after me. Everyone was going to screw me over. What did I create? What happened? Didn't matter what I did on the outside. I created my definitions. I created what was happening in here. Do you guys see this? Tell me what you're taking away so far. Put it in the chat. If you want to unmute, you can quickly unmute. But our unconscious definitions and beliefs and stories of us and the world and God and others and money, and they will create your reality. You can do all you can, like I did, to change it on any other level. But if you don't change it at that level or work at that level, at the core level of this, you will not create another reality. Your beliefs, your definitions, Your deep core unconscious patterning is too strong. There's another way you need to work with it. So exactly where I am now. Yeah, you know this story. Yes, that's belief, your belief too. Resonate. It's an inside job. Our outside world is a reflection of the inner world. Yes. Yes. I'll wait for a couple of others just to give me their takeaways. You are the creator. Yeah. We create, the failure and the success. We create what we want and what we don't want. We are co-creating all of it. And the story on repeat. Yeah. We just have our past and we're in a time capsule and we're just living it constantly and trying to orientate and do things. Like I try to choose my ex and all this stuff based off my past, but it was choosing exactly what would recreate it, right? It's really difficult to think about the positive when you're surrounded by negatives. Yeah, and I know this is feeling a bit glum right now because I'm just telling you all there's hope, ladies. It's okay. Like there's a light at the end of the tunnel. There's light here, right? I'm just trying to make this point really powerful and really important. And the actual thing here, ladies, is some of you may be uncomfortable. Some of you might feel like, oh goodness, this isn't pepping me up. This is draining me. Like the ability for you to sit in the dark and the ability for you to handle the flip side is going to be the exact, opposing force of what you can handle and what you can hold from your genius and from success and whatever. My ability to face my shit, my ability to face this truth, these stories, this definition, these realities, like to sit with the pain of this, that was creating my ability to hold the pleasure, to hold the joy, to hold the success, to hold the fulfillment. Like we've got to be able to sit in the dark and sit with this. Notice within you if you're already getting uncomfortable, like, oh, tell me the answer, tell me how to get out, tell me, because you need to fully see this and sit here and get this. That's step one. So really notice yourself in as I'm sharing this as well, what comes up for you. Know where we're coming from. Yes. Surprised how good I am at living my storyline. Yeah, we all are. We don't always realize we are choosing from fear. No, it's a very unconscious thing, and a lot of the time when we're in that pattern and our survival patterning, we are in like a hypnosis. We're asleep, So even now, that's what I mean. Like, it's not like I've then uncovered this and now I never get ruled by my ego and unconscious ever again. I constantly have to reawaken myself because I'll get stuck in it and I'll recreate it and I'll go, oh shit, oh hello, okay, and that's why like I talk about ease and flow, and yes, it is ease and flow with success. However, it's deep and challenging. And a lot of people aren't willing to do what has to be done. They're not willing to get support and things that have to be there. And I'm not going to sugarcoat like how simple like this all is. Like it's simple, but it's difficult, right? And that's why I've worked with my same mentor on the Superconscious for the 4 years. And that's why I've done this work, because I know my ego is powerful and it wants to take me off track all the time. In the shows, I don't really see the ego as a villain as such, but in, shows, if that's depicted, that, the villains are often stronger than the hero. And the hero has to be smarter and outsmart and figure out a way how to work with it, because it's getting defeated. And that's the same with our superconscious, our ego. The ego is very clever. It is very strong. Like it will keep taking you back. You need to really commit and dedicate to seeing it, exposing it, seeing like what you need to see to overcome, and to move through it. My reality is starting to happen. My 5-year mark happened in relationship. I'm worthy and love where I am in life. Powerful. Health is the last thing needing to be broken through. Yeah. Disconnected from feeling it. Yes. It's important to go into it. Sleepwalking through life. Yeah. A lot of us are stuck oscillating, fear, creating what we don't want. Yes. So first thing I need you to understand with this, ladies, is that we need to be able to sit with this, see it as it is right now. See your current definition, see your current world that you've been creating, because the thing that you're living right now, it's not good, bad, like it's just is what it is. And it just is. Your current reality is just a reflection of your old definitions and your past, beliefs, definitions, stories. Like that's all. Your current reality is just a reflection of that. Your future reality is a reflection of your current definitions and energy and focus. And so if you want it to shift, you just got to start shifting your current definitions. You got to shifting your story, shifting your focus, shifting where you're going, which we'll talk about second step. But the first step is you be very clear on exactly where you are right now and what definitions and stories and focus and has been leading to this. And I'm going to give you a quick application on how to actually do this. What I want you to do, and it won't be something we'll be able to have time to do now, but it will be something that I want you to do after the call. I want you to, we might be able to do it later, but right now I'm going to move on. I want you to look at a time that you've been triggered recently, a time that you felt triggered, a time that stuff's been brought up, a time that emotions have flared, you know. So first step is look at a time you've been triggered recently. Second step is I want you to start to notice with that, what were the sort of reactions coming up for you in terms of your thoughts, your feelings, like what was it bringing up? And then I want you to look at what were the definitions you had of yourself, of others, and of the world or God, life. Any of those three are the same. What were the definitions you had of yourself, others, and God, life, the world from this experience? And so this is something I want you to do a bit later. But what we're doing here when we start to do this is you start to bring awareness, you start to bring consciousness to your unconscious. You start to turn the light on, switch the light on, and expose your ego, expose your unconscious, expose what's going on. And that is the first step, because it has the power and it is in control and it is leading if it's not exposed and it's in the dark. But the moment you turn the light on and you see it and you observe it, the moment you become the observer, you become the conscious person of it. It can't play out anymore. It can't do the thing. The boogie monster in the room can't be there if you turn the light on and you see there's nothing there, you know? So the very first thing you need to understand and do is to get very clear on your current experiences, your current reactions, your current definitions. Like that's the first thing. And the whole thing of this is I'd really love you to really expose, like, what's the core definition you have of yourself in this moment, in this trigger? Because I told you a couple of stories. The core definition I had was I'm trashable and I'm abandonable, and what happened with my ex, what happened with my relate, and that's not just that. It was all these relationships, same thing. It happened then with clients and people in my business. That I'm unworthy, like would happen in my business and reflect out in there, you know. So it's really important to see, because that's where your current definition is creating your reality. That's your lower definition. That is your unconscious. And that, yeah, in a child part of you that got wounded or hurt as a child, like that's that part of you. And it's the 4-year-old you driving your whole life and creating. And I don't know about you, but I don't want my son driving my Range Rover. It's not going to be very good for him or me or anyone else, right? But that is what happens for most of us. We have our 4-year-old or 3-year-old, whatever, who defined ourselves as whatever we were, inaccurately driving our life, and we are creating crashes and dismal problems like from that. Firstly, you need to wake up and go, shit, my 4-year-old's driving the car, you know, like, oh no. And then you can get it out of, like, you can then move it, but you got to wake up to this first, right? And see what damage is flipping being done by this, because it's ruling, wrecking the road, wrecking everything. You know, mine was running amok everywhere. My life was a mess from this, you know, poor little 4-year-old. It's like, I love you, little Miranda, but you do not drive my car. Like, I love you. And I know you're scared, but you do not drive my car, you know, like, so that's the first thing. Chaos, definite chaos, yes. Okay, second thing. Now this is getting juicy. This is important. I really need you to understand that's important and needed, but this is where we then, what do we do with this now, right? So what happened, and I didn't understand this until later, is I actually started creating some experiences of success. And I didn't realize this And I was quite a slow learner, but I had this time where when I started my business, I believed that, and I defined that God and the world would provide for me. And I'm a single mum who needs some support, and God and the world, life is going to be there for me, and it's going to give me the money, it's going to provide for me. That was a definition I had when my ex left. And I had decided and defined that I was going to get the exact money I got as a job. I was going to get it somehow every month, and I just believed it. I just defined it and believed it, and that was it. And I didn't know any of this work, right? I just made it up, and I just like, yep, this is going to happen, right? Every month without fail of that year, I got the exact, and I'm saying the exact to the dollar. I'm not kidding. The exact dollar amount I used to get in my paycheck in my job, I got every single month of that year. And it wasn't always from my business, it was from all these different ways. But every month, without fail, I received the exact amount I defined and believed that I would. I then moved house, went to the beach. For some reason, I defined that God and the world weren't there at the beach. They were an hour away. They were back with my family, and God wasn't there. Guess what happened? I made $0 the moment I left and defined that God wasn't there. Do you understand? Our definitions create our reality, which create evidence that give our, beliefs power and then go around again. So in this time when I got into this $20,000 of debt, I started to define myself as powerful. I started to define myself as I've got an intuitive genius. So I started to learn the superconscious in this month, right? I started to learn what I'm going to teach you. So I defined myself as I've got intuition genius. I am powerful. I'm going to follow my intuition. It's powerful more so than these strategy people and this action I'm trying to do. My intuition's powerful. My consciousness is powerful. I am powerful. Other people deserve to be served. Other people care about me caring about them. They deserve to be served. Then other people aren't money and dollar bills. They're not waiting to just give me money for no reason. They are needing to be served, and I want to add value to them, others. And I trusted that the world would pay me and value me for this service I'm offering, for the value I'm offering. I define myself that way. I defined others that way. I defined the world that way. And I made $20,000 that month the moment I defined those things. A few months later, I received this insight about this alchemy program. I was really asking the universe to give me a program that really would up level everyone and really connect to my heart. And woke up one day and bang, 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 all these ideas came to me, of this program. And it just in 10 minutes, I had a whole program there, and I had how I was going to do it and what the marketing was going to be, all the things that all came. And then next month, I defined I was worthy of this program. I defined that other people needed it. I defined that the world was going to give it to me, that the universe was wanting to give me this work. And I did a lot of work energetically that month. It wasn't just like I made that decision and then bang. I had to work really hard energetically at keeping my definitions about this and not getting into the unworthy, fear, all the things. I had to really bring my energy back. And in that month of doing those definitions and that energetic work, I created a $100,000 month my first time with a lot of magic. I've had launch after launch going not great, whatever, or good, based off my definitions. I had a program I was going to run, and it was this event that I was going to do, and I wanted 33 women to be there, but I defined it as something I didn't really want it to do. I wasn't excited about it. I thought it was a bit boring, a bit annoying. I had this effort, energy around it that I was like, oh, I'm just ticking this off. I don't really want to do it. 7 weeks of trying to do actions and strategies, and bang, I get 7 people in there after 7 weeks of working my ass off. 2 days go by and I'm like, I've got to look at this. I've got to define this differently. This doesn't feel right. I start defining myself as powerful again. I start defining that people need this and that I really want this program because I want this. And why do I connect to it? What do I want it for? Starting to get the energetic connection back. In 2 days, 33 women join me because of that, because I start defining it differently, because I start working on my energetics towards it. I define that I'm going to be provided for, that I'm not going to have less than a 10K month. I'm going to create business and like I'm powerful. It's all energetic. There was this 1 month in the last 4 years. I've not gone less than 10, 20K in the last 4 years. It's just kept going up and up and up. There was 1 month though, where I went down to $4,000 in the last nearly 5 years. There was a month that I did that. Why? Because I started to define myself as I'm losing my mojo, I'm losing my magic, I'm losing my power. And I started to be hopeless. And I made less. And the next month I was like, no, this is an ebb before the flow. I'm about to create this magical thing. There's something going to be coming for me. This is like the flood's about to come. It's just the ebb before the flood. And that's when the alchemy that's when I birthed alchemy. That's when I had the 100K month. So it's all definitions. It's all definitions about what you have defined as yourself, how you've defined others, how you've defined the world, how you define money, how you defined your offers. If I'm not connected to my offers and I don't care about them, and I haven't got myself excited and plugged into them, I don't create what I want. I will literally get on a live and do a share and do a post or whatever. And if I'm connected and I'm defining myself as powerful and I'm excited about what I'm sharing, it will go crazy. But if I'm not, and I'm just like, man, I'm just typing this and posting, like, and I'm defining it as this is boring, I'm like, it's annoyed that I have to do this. Like, it's crap. It's no one hears it, no one cares. Like, it's the energy and the definitions that we're putting behind these things that take them wherever they're going to go. But the main thing I want you to understand is that your key definition of yourself is the guiding force behind all of this. You'll have definitions of all these things I'm talking about. But within that 1 month, when I changed, I went from 20K debt to 20K month, and then I've kept growing from there. What was the key thing? What's the secret sauce? I define myself differently. I saw myself as a superconscious woman, as a creator, as a creatrix, as a powerful being, as a god, as a goddess, as a magnetic life force who is in power and is the predominant creative force of what I'm having in my life. And I'm in powerful position. I create. Everything is co-created from me. The minute I define myself as that, the minute I give that the power, that the focus, and I see my old beliefs and I see my old things and I go, yeah, I hear that, but I'm going to go here and I choose this and I want this and I'm going here. And I see that and I want this, I'm going here. And I get triggered again. I see that and I want this and I'm going here. The moment I started to do that, the moment I started to keep doing that, putting the energy back here, keep seeing myself like that, keep seeing there, that is the key that changed everything for me. My definitions of the world, definitions of like money, like all the things change, and my offers, like they all are important too, but that is the pinnacle, that like linchpin that then cascades the rest. And how do you apply this? How do you work with this? One of the main ways is that once you've gone and you've seen the trigger and you've seen your definitions and like you're basically zoomed right in on the moment and you're like seeing it all from your unconscious. You're seeing it as a little girl and the 4-year-old and whatever. You're seeing all of that. The moment you see that, you then want to start to zoom out. You want to start to go up, 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 high in the sky, really high up in the sky, up into the ether, up into the realm of the gods. Tap into that woman, that superconscious being who's living up here, who's in the celestial, who's got, your star-like quality, right? Look down from there and see, as the goddess, as the creator, as the magician, as the alchemist, whoever you define yourself as, you'll have a definition that relates to you. Look at it from that view. See what you're looking at from that view. See yourself from that view. See your offering from that view. See your life from that view. See your trigger from that view. Everything will change. The minute you start giving that more power, the minute you start focusing from that place, the minute you start seeing you for who you truly are, your life will change. Everything will change. I'd love you to put in the chat, what are you taking away from this? Because I literally searched for this for years. $800,000 into mentors, program, whatever. And I'm giving you like the cream of the la creme. Like I'm giving you, it might not seem, what, I don't know. I don't know how it seems to you, but this is the key. This is the secret. This is it. Alia, just your question about gene keys. Yes, I do talk about that in my program. Yeah, but it's not something that we'll probably go into tonight. It's not so related to what we're looking at, but yeah, I do. Such an amazing analogy. Thank you. That's awesome. Tell me what you think, ladies. Am I meditating when I do this? It depends. Like sometimes I'm doing this work like just in the car or right in the middle of a trigger or whatever. And it could just literally be a minute of like, these are my definitions. And then this is my, just imagine myself up there. Like it could be a minute. If I have longer, then yeah, I'll meditate and sit with it longer. It's just about how practical it is in the day of when I'm doing it. But what I can suggest and what I find the most powerful is what I call the pivoting tool, which is really through the day, see yourself in your trigger, see yourself in your mess, see yourself in your definitions, in your current reality, like, and just sit there and just see it and step into a truth circle and go, this is how I'm seeing it. This is how I'm feeling. This is what I'm defining myself as. This is shit. I hate this. I'm super scarce. I don't have any money. I'm stressed out, blah, blah, blah. Like, so let your ego and unconscious say what it needs to say and let it speak, and just put that in that circle. And then you go to the vision and you go into your creator, you go into your superconscious and you go, what do you see here? How do you see yourself? What's the truth from here? What's your highest? What do you love? Like what's the goddess see? Because me as the goddess and the creator, I look at this man and this thing rejecting me and what it's like, well, he's missing out. Like this is good quality. He's missing. Oh, well, next, like, like I don't see it the same way, right? As a goddess and creator, like see someone not choosing my program, not choosing to join with me. It's like, okay, you're losing out, but or it may not be aligned. That's okay. Cool. All right. I'm going from here, like it's just a completely different experience and completely different reality, so yeah, I hope that helps answer that. I'm currently writing a book and I can feel when I'm connected and feeling that I'm operating from superconscious and when I'm not inspired and motivated. Yeah. And it's really important. Like this is where the consciousness work is what matters. The consciousness work is where the consciousness work is where the answers are. I even recently, I've had my launch, and I'll talk to you guys about it later, like about Fiji and alchemy, my main offerings at the moment, my retreat and my mastermind. And I was doing some actions around it and doing my normal things around it, and it just was feeling a bit stuck. It just wasn't moving to the degree I wanted it to. And so I just stepped into my consciousness around it. I stepped into the truth of what was coming up, stepped into the deep fear that was there or whatever it was, saw all that, and then stepped into my vision and my desires. And there was a few times I did it, but I really got a session where recently, like I got to the core of it. I really saw it. And the moment I saw the core block and the core factor that I was afraid of and where the energy was coming into the unconscious, and the moment I saw my superconscious and how it wants it to be and what it loves, literally 2 days after that, like 10 women joined either program in 2 days from me doing the superconscious work on it. I didn't do any actual other actions in that time, I did that. But I'd done a month of other actions and it was all building for it. It was all momentum. It's not saying it didn't feed into that. But the key crux of it changing was working on the consciousness, working on that level. How do you stay connected to the definition of self and the doubt sets in? You really just have to keep the practice of the pivoting of like seeing the doubt, seeing what's coming up and arising, and then going back to the superconscious and how you're really defining in the true definition. When I say true definition too, I'm not talking about I'm unworthy. Oh no, I'm worthy. Like it's not opposite. It's not trying to compensate. It's just the truth. So you're a creator or you're a superconscious or you're a goddess. Like it's and so, yeah, the pivoting is really what I will do. And eventually what happens is, even in that time when I was in the $20,000 of debt, at the beginning of that month, like I was doing that 10 times a day. Like I was constantly doing it, right? And then the energy started to shift and change. And at the beginning, I was very in the doubt, very in the fear, very somatically triggered all the time and off. And then over time, over me practicing that, then weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, like I started to feel more in my vision, more in the superconscious. It's like a seesaw, and the power starts to go into your superconscious. And that's when the moment that shifts and there's a slight majority in the superconscious, that is the moment breakthrough happens. And you just got to be diligent and devoted before that. Just keep, because at the start, you'll be like this. This is what happens if you're a visual Jessica. You'll be like this, it'll be ego, unconscious. But it'll keep going back, right? And then you'll start to do it more and more and more, and it will start to go wee, 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 like more like that. That helps. That's the visual for it. But you've got to be devoted. You've got to be devoted. And you need to keep being devoted, even if you're not seeing the evidence yet, because in the quantum, it can take 4 to 6 weeks delay sometimes. Sometimes it's straight away, but sometimes it can take a delay for you doing this work and then it to show up in the physical. And what happens is people will do this, and then they'll be like 2 days in, 3 days in, a week in, go, oh, shit, still hasn't happened. All right, stuff this is not working. I'll go try and get another mentor and do another. It's like, no. You got to be devoted. And you got to be devoted even if you're not seeing the evidence yet. Because magic is believing before seeing. It's not, getting the evidence and then you believe. That's not how magic works. That's not how miracles work. And that is a massive problem I see a lot of people have with this work. And they're looking for evidence and they'll give up if they don't see it, and that's stopping it. That's blocking it. Here's the mistake of trying to say I'm abundant and think I'm going to trick the universe. Yeah. And, I think you probably know, Joanne, that, a lot of the time we go, I'm abundant and I'm wealthy. And it's really coming because we don't think we are, and we're defining ourselves not as that. And the power is really in like, I'm a poor and I'm a poverty, and I'm got poverty consciousness. I got lack and I've got, and we're trying to say that consciously to force ourselves out of thinking that way. But deep down, that's not what we believe. And so that's what we'll reflect. That's why the affirmations don't work and actually end up often creating more of what we don't want, because the energy is still in the fear. We're still being very led and defined by the fear. We're not doing that deeper work. Become the goddess and live from this perspective. Very somatic, yes. Be aware, be the observer. It's the energy behind everything, 100%. Being definitive of what you want, yes, very clear on that, very important. So acknowledge your ego, but then pull away and look at it from your goddess. Yes, that's right. See the ego, see the truth, see the current reality, see the current definitions. And then once you've seen all that, go to your superconscious, to your highest space and see from there and live from there until you get brought back and get triggered and you're brought back into the ego. And then you just do the whole thing again. Rise up, embody the high aspect, take action from there. Yes. I think the shift is tricky, but when we are consistently aware of the definition of shifting, it will feel more natural. I really relate to understanding this and going back to the default to make myself accountable. Yeah, it is. And I'm not, I really want to be honest with you ladies. Like my values of alchemy are truth, love, and wisdom. Like I'm not trying to sugarcoat this. I'm saying it in a simple way, and it seems simple, right? But it is not easy in terms of it's difficult and challenging to do this and to not be tricked and be lost and go back asleep, go back into hypnosis of the ego. I have done this work for 4 or 5 years, coming to 5 years now. I've had my same mentor one-to-one. He's, amazing in this for the last 5 years. I've been diligent with this, devoted to this. I'm married to alchemy. Like I serve alchemy. Like this is my passion and my work. And like, I still get taken off all the time, even though I know what I know and I do what I do and I have all the support and mentoring. It's not as simple as just believe it and it will come. And I don't want to say that to you, because what will happen then is you'll try and do this and then you'll not be able to create it yet. And you'll be like, oh, this isn't for me, or I can't do this. That's not true. It's just, the ego is powerful. The unconscious is there, and it really wants to keep you in survival, keep you trapped in the past, keep you limited, keep you in these spaces, because it's trying to protect you. It's trying to provide and secure, but it's sucking your life force. It's keeping you stuck. It's not, you know. But I just want to, yeah, be honest about that, because this is simple, but it is challenging to hold and to sustain and to keep, and also to not be, yeah, it's a survival mechanism, but also to not be, you know, the salmon in the water. We don't know what we don't know. We don't see what we don't see. Like, that's why these objective people coming in and mentor can be super supportive for that. I've noticed this shifting and getting easier. I'm proud of myself when it happens. Amazing. Definitely. I've done so much of this and still in debt. It could be tiring. Yeah. And, you know, I really hear that tiring, and I hear the feeling sometimes we can get of hopelessness and the powerlessness. And the key thing here is that I really want you to understand there is a way for you, and this is possible, and you have the limitlessness in you, and you have power in you. And like, I just want you to have that hope, and that they're not letting the belief go, and to really, you know, hold yourself to that. It's just that you might have not uncovered the puzzle piece, or you may have not known how to hold this fully, or you might not have had the mentor, or the insight, or like whatever it is. There's just a couple of tethers or a couple of puzzle pieces that you just haven't got yet. It's a structural thing. It doesn't mean that you personally are different to me and I can create it and you can't. That is not true. It is possible for you. It's just something is missing right now, and that's it. And I think that's really, really important, because, you know, I was talking about this to a client today about hope, you know, and the power of hope. And Viktor Frankl talks about hopelessness as being the thing that, like, just takes our life force and takes our life, you know, in his book, of Man's Search for Meaning, he talks about in the concentration camps that they noticed there was a spike in deaths around Christmas and the New Year. And there was no reason physically for that to happen. There wasn't anything that went on other than the fact that they lost hope, because they were holding that was the moment they were going to be free. That was the moment the war was going to end. They believed it. And the moment they saw that it wasn't, the moment they saw their hope was dashed and it was still going on, they lost their will to live. They lost that will and that power and that hope and that life force, you know, and that drained their life out of them. Like, and this is quite a strong way to finish, you know, and you know, I wasn't expecting this to come out, but I think it's really important to share that for me, with all of these times, I tried so hard and I tried to break out so much, but it wasn't ever in me this sense of, I can't do this. I'm not going to do this. Like, you know, I can't figure this out. It was a sense of just like when, not what if. What if I don't? It was never a thing of like, I can't do this. I'm not going to be able to do it. It was just when. When is this going to happen? When is it going to break? Like, it will. It's just a matter of when. Like, it was just holding that hope and knowing that for you is so vital, so key. But I will say, and this is the last thing I'll say, I think, before we start to wrap up, but you have something in you that wants to be birthed. You have your superconscious that wants to be fully expressed, and you have creations in you, offers in you, a business in you that wants to be birthed, you know, and wants to come out of you. It wants to be expressed through you. You have potential and life and dreams, and they want to come out. And yeah, there is a saying that I never get exactly right, but it is around the essence of that. If you birth that is what is within you, it will, you know, create that joy, that fulfillment, that life, you know. But if you don't, it will destroy you. If you can't get it out of you, like, it feels like it can destroy you, you know. And so you are super conscious women, and you deserve to have these dreams and desires. They're sitting here waiting to happen for you. And if you follow these processes, if you follow alchemy, if you do the deeper work, the inner work, it will. And I want you to really know that and have the hope of that. It's very, very important, very powerful. So I finished a little differently to what I was thinking, but I hope that has hit something for you. I'd love you to put in the chat just the key takeaway from the whole night. Put that in the chat. What's the thing that's really resonated with you, that's landed with you? Put that in the chat right now. And while you're doing that, I wanted to just share a piece, and I mentioned about, you know, alchemy and my Fiji retreat. I, you know, want to do these trainings for you because I just want to support you in your journey, and I want to give you pieces that I needed, you know, and I was looking for, and it took me a long time to uncover, and I just want to offer them to you. I love speaking about this. I love training this. I love teaching you. I love meeting with you women, on this. But I am, like I said, honest as well in that this will give you so much. And maybe for some of you, this is all you can have right now. And this is, what you want to take and run with. And then there's others that think, no, I want more and I need more. And, I want to go deeper on this. I want to know how to actually practically live this. I want to know how to use alchemy. I want to know how to use my superconscious. I want to know how to create with that flow, and not to have the stuck yo-yo experience anymore. I want to birth the business. I want to birth abundance. I want to get my true self out there, whatever it is. So if that is you, and if you want to go deeper and you want to explore more and you want to look at how to practically do this work from me, and access the superconscious in this way, access the guidance in this way, then right now there are, two ways to receive that from me at the moment. And the first way is my retreat in Fiji, which is on the 12th of October for a week. And I'm super pumped. We actually only have a couple of spots left already, even though it's still 3 months away. It's filling up very fast. And we're going to go deep into the superconscious there and really deep into how to go into the core levels of abundance and your connection to abundance, your connection to your business, your connection to your superconscious power, how to go deep into the core levels of that work and birth with that ease and flow, birth with magnetism, birth with your power, So if you want info on Fiji, if you could put Fiji in the chat, that would be amazing. And then I can give you some info. And just write Fiji in the chat if you want it. And then alchemy is my other offering at the moment. That's my 6-month mastermind. And that's my baby that I've had for a few years now that has come, to me from the universe. And I'm very, very grateful for it. It's my prized possession. And it's something where we really take the journey of the superconscious and we do it over 6 months. And it's the most intimate way of working with me. It's a deep journey weekly. We have calls, we have incredible women, we have accountability, intuitive readings, pod calls with each other. There is all the training around the superconscious, around deep core emotional work, around intuitive business, money, all of the things that I've needed to create what I've had in my life, to create the legacy now that I have, and it's one-to-one work with me. And you can literally get support from me every day. It is just unlimited access, limitless access to me and supporting you on that journey over the 6 months. So I love both of them and I'm super pumped for them. So if you want info on, Fiji or alchemy, put it in the chat. But if you have also just enjoyed the time together and this is what you need for now, then I'm so grateful to have you here. I really, really do love each of you and love this time with you. You're incredible. And there's a few of the girls, coming to Fiji as well on here. So I'm super pumped to have you as well. And I'll read the feedback of what you've taken away after this as well. If anyone, does have, I might hold space for like 5 minutes or 10 of questions or something. If anyone's got any pressing questions of what I've shared tonight or anything else, I'll open the space up if, you want to do that. And while you can put it in the chat or you can unmute. While you're doing that, I'm actually also going to just put a link in here too. That's if anyone wants to book a call with my team now to start to explore like Fiji or alchemy. If you've put your name in there, then I will try and send you a message. But some of you I'm not connected to on Facebook or, I'm not sure. Some of you haven't got your surnames and things like that. So it would be awesome if you could book a call. So they'll give you info and that's the easiest way. Otherwise I'll try and find you and do my best, but I'd love you to get the info and that's the easiest way to do it. So does anyone have any questions? Anyone want to get me to share anything else? Anything you want to bring to me? You can unmute or put it in the chat. Thanks, love. Beautiful to have you. I'm yours for a few minutes if you have anything. If you need to go. Much love. Can be something tonight related to tonight, or it can also be anything else. No questions off limits. Unless it's something too personal, I don't want to share it.
With the definitions, Miranda, do you do journaling to get that out, or you?
I don't really journal much at all. I used to a lot. I actually find that just speaking it out to myself and having a convo with myself is the most powerful. But you can like write the definition and write it down and just sit with it. The best thing I find, and this depends on, how much superconscious work you've done, intuitive work you've done, but it is the best I find is just step into a circle of the definition of self and just wait to see what pops up and step, like that's a very beautiful intuitive tool to do. But yeah, I don't tend to journal it a lot. I find out loud conversations with myself really powerful because it's sort of like I'm talking to my inner child, and I actually go back and forth a little bit with those. Obviously, if I'm in a cafe, I'm not going to sit there talking to myself. I just, but yeah, normally that's what I do. The thing is, you don't have to get really complicated with it. It's often it's more about the one core depth and hitting the nail on the head of what it is. So for instance, I was in Bali on my retreat in Bali, and I was showing the ladies this practice about putting a straw through a potato. And if you've done any superconscious work, you would have seen it, but there's a raw potato and you can put a straw through it. And if I choose the end result, it's a magic thing. And if I choose seeing the end result and put the power there, the straw just goes through the potato, even though it's raw, and I've done this with sweet potatoes, and it's crazy, right? It's magic. But if you don't do that and you're stuck in your beliefs, then you won't get it anywhere. And if you're trying to just push it through and go as hard as you can, you won't get it through. It's only once you do see the true end result. And I was doing it in front of all the girls in Bali, and it wasn't working. And I normally get it straight away. It's just that it was in person, and I was in Bali, and I was in my retreat, and I had all this pressure on myself. And I was sitting there and I was like, defining myself as this, I've got beliefs on that. And then so I'd go, okay, the power there. And then I'll just go back to the vision. I'll go bang, and it wouldn't go through. And I was like, what the fuck? It was like 10 minutes. I was like, what is going on? This never happens. And what I realized is the core definition is that alchemy is bullshit. I was worried and I had fear that alchemy is bullshit, that it's snake oil, that I'm selling a lie. If that was my fear, right? The moment I named that and saw that was what I was afraid of, and that's what I was feeling I was showing, and and then I put the power back into the vision and I saw it, that was the second I went straight through, because that was the definition that was blocking me, and that was the core that blocked me. And the moment I saw that, it took the power out of it, and I could be freed with my energy. So it's not about lots of pages of writing and it's just getting the one thing, getting the one nail. Does that make sense, hon? Oh,
No, it does make sense. So in that moment, did it reveal itself?
Yeah, I just sat and I'm like, I set the intention. I'm like, I need to know the core. This isn't working. What the heck is at the core here? What am I not seeing? And what's the core block here? What's the core?
You had that the false evidence appearing real was right there. You could see it. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah. It was showing me my very fear. I was creating what I, didn't want, yeah. And then when I saw that, it took the power out of it, and I could put it back into just what I wanted, which was to put the straw through the thing, and that's when it happened.
So what do you do if you're in a stage where the false evidence is appearing real, but no matter which way you skirt around it, I feel like I'm actually in that. I'm being averted no matter what way I try. There's just mirrors like being in a.
Yeah. Well, ask me another way. I'm going to answer it if it's not what you mean, ask it again. But the thing is, you are going to get evidence of your beliefs. Because if they're your beliefs, you're going to have evidence of it because they've got the power and it's going to create that reality. And so just knowing yeah, okay, right now I'm creating this and the evidence is here because I'm believing it, and that's got power. And making it not mean anything. It's it doesn't mean I'm actually worthless. It just that means I've defined it that, and I am showing myself that. That's it, Same as if I define myself as blue and I start looking at myself as being blue. It's like, it doesn't mean that I'm actually blue. It just is like warping my view or whatever. Like, it's just taking the personalization out of it, taking the it's bad, taking the resistance out of it is the first thing. Because once we define it as bad and I'm resisting it, and this is meaning I'm a horrible person and I'm unworthy, and we start to get really freaked out, like we're attached to this and it's not going anywhere, you know? And the moment we just accept it and go, I don't love this, but this is where it is right now. No, I'm not choosing this, but this is it at the moment. And it's okay. It's not where I want to be, but it's okay. It takes the power out of it and it starts to ease, you know, it. Does that answer what you mean, or were you asking something else?
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm definitely past that, scrambling to try and identify it and then having resistance and judging it. It's just being able to actually get that root and really, it's like, I feel like I want that huge, massive weeds, like massive tree, like out of the space.
There's a root still there.
And I just can't get those last roots out.
Yeah.
And it's so like, I literally find that I feel like probably the best analogy is it's a bit like being in a storm, and I can get my head up and I can see okay, I need to do this, and this in my business. And then literally I can lose 3 days and I'm like, fuck, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah.
And so the awareness is there. And then try not to, like, it's no point scolding a 3-year-old. Like, you need to
accept it. Yeah.
But it's like,
I think a few things are coming to me from what you're sharing.
pardon?
A few things are coming to me about this. Okay. One thing is, like, and I don't know where you're at right now, hun, and you know what you can do, but like having a mentor, and super conscious one for me, like I don't have any other mentors anymore now. It's just like my super conscious, because that's key, because there's sometimes a block that we just can't see, you know, and the objective person who's got that power in the super conscious, like, can see it, you know. So that's one thing. Second thing is really setting the intention that you're going to uncover the block, and just saying, like, I'm not fucking, like, this isn't going on anymore. Like when I've drawn the line and I'm being like, enough's enough, I'm done. Like, this is happening now. I'm knowing now, like, this is it. You know, I've done it a few times in my life, and it's like that's when it comes, you know, because and if you're not shifting it yet, there's a part of you that's okay with that, you know, and you've got to really get to the point where you're like, no, I'm not. And also ask yourself, what part of me wants this? What part of me gets a kink out of this? What part of me loves this? You know, like, really get that, because there is a part that is loving your spinning and struggling, and see what that is as well.
Yeah,
you know?
I just feel like it's a survival mechanism that's literally like probably 20 generations deep. Like, it literally is. It is not safe.
Oh yeah. Oh, and this is
the work that I know I'm here to do.
Yeah,
but it's so like, I literally lost skin off my left arm 3 times. Insomnia, like, so I've managed to call back from that.
Yeah, and that's why, like,
not accepting that's, you know, manifesting as a physical illness is just not going to wash. I know why it's happening. And then coming, so it's, yeah, but it still feels like, how can I then, now it's moved more mental than physical, and it's like I've been playing this cat and mouse dance now for a long time. Like,
yeah, well, the thing about, you know, is generational. Like, yeah, it is, you know, and that's why the superconscious is so much more powerful, because the unconscious just works with our couple of weeks in utero beyond, whereas the superconscious can do generational things. So that's one thing. The second piece as well, like, well, not second, I don't know what numbers I've told you yet, but there is actually a practical element, and that's why in alchemy and the work I do as well, is that there is the superconscious work, there's deep soul somatic embodiment work, and there is intuitive business and money work. Like, all of the things need to be dealt with, you know, and you may be working at a consciousness thing, there might be a little tether there still there, but then there might be also in business block that if you don't have the structure on that, you know, I poo-poo strategy a bit, you know, sometimes, like, but that's just because we're so weighted in the business world on that way. But I'm not going to also say that strategy is not important, and that there are some things that you need to know as structural in business, and, you know, so I don't know unless I had a session with you to really unpack what it is, but there's a few things I could see that it could be, you know.
Yeah, I mean, for a long time, the primary, it's more, it's like, you know, I've heard over, it was $2 million in 10 years, and there's massive debt to show for it. Like, it's just not. And so that's been my massive mirror, which is, I'm so grateful for, because it wasn't, you know, some people have, you know, lose children or have horrendous things happen, like, and still don't get it. But so it's, I know I'm close, but it's just like far out. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, look back at the recording, what I've shared to you, but, you know, set the intention that this is going to uncover you know, and like, you know, I was doing the work around the Fiji example, or like these things. And I just was like, kept setting the intention, kept doing the work to really know. And then it didn't happen. Like I was doing weeks, like 2-3 weeks of the work on it, and then bang, it just like it unlocked, you know, in that time. And I was getting more like, okay, this is enough's enough. Like I actually had a day where I was like, this is done. Like I'm not flipping having this stuck anymore. Like this is moving now. Stuff this shit, you know, like, and I was just, so there's a lot of power in that, you know. But check what else I've said as well, hun. Yeah. Thank you for sharing though. Yeah, all right. A few of you have to go. That's all good. I'll have a look at what you've shared here and your little takeaways and all the things. But ladies, if you do have any other questions and things that you want to share, or whatever, then do reach out. It's been amazing to have the time with you. I've really loved it. And yeah, hope you've taken a lot away. And keep tuned for next one's coming. There'll be more and more. Love you lots as well. Bye bye,
Thanks, Meg.
ladies. Bye. Bye.